Every poo-poo is pee-pee time. But not every pee-pee is poo-poo time. Huh? You ever think about that one, Mr. Batman? Huh?
48 minutes of dogs barking. 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 Growl. Growl. 48 minutes of dogs barking. 48 minutes of dogs barking.
Here's two guys who don't really drink liquor trying to act like we're, yeah, it's got a nice finish.
Snobs be damned.
I used to be really into whiskey.
Yeah.
There was a guy that bartended at the Firebird, Rob. I don't know if you remember him.
I remember Rob. Yeah.
Yeah, Rob's a good guy. One of those people that you would find out that he was like in his early 30s, but he still looked like he was like 19.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and be like, do you have a daughter that's like high school? And be like, yeah. Like, no, the math ain't mathing, my dude, but Rob's good people.
He's been blessed.
Rob's a good guy. He had a birthday one time. And me and a couple guys went out with him, and we went down to the Landing, which for people who are not from St. Louis, the Landing is like one of those places you go when you don't live in St. Louis, but you want to go somewhere that ain't where you go normally to get fucked up. But Rob, being the guy at that time who was in his mid-30s, had been bartending since probably before he could legally drink, knew pretty much everyone that was bartending down there. So every single time we went to a bar, we went to Heartbreakers, we went to Big Daddy's. I don't even remember. I don't even think my eyes were still fully open by the time we walked into Big Daddy's. That feels like a fever dream.
Yeah.
Because every bar we went to would be like, Rob, dude, bro, I heard it's your birthday, man. What you guys want to do? Like, chill shots of Jameson.
Oh, he knew.
And
Okay.
I probably did like several shots of Jameson in short order with no water. Maybe a couple Coke backs. I had a real rough relationship with whiskey for a couple of years after that.
Oh, sure. My family is very hardcore about their Irish heritage, and so every funeral comes with a bottle of Jameson, you know, that kind of thing. It's a tradition, so I'm looking forward to when this country's not in as bad a shape, and I can go to Ireland a little bit more freely, and I can go tour the Jameson distillery.
Yeah. I think there'd be a lot of reasons I'd like to go to Ireland, to check out the distilleries and the breweries, and also just to take in the people.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful country.
Yeah, I'd like to go and do a little drinking, do a little thinking, shoot an Abe Lincoln.
Speaking of drinking, thinking, and Abe Lincoln, it's 48 Minutes of Dogs Barking. My name is Jason. This is Brian. Welcome to the show. Oh my goodness, what a week. What a week, and it's only Thursday.
Time, I'm going to tell you as a guy who's unemployed right now, it really is blending together. There's a real like hard moment where like I'm like, oh, it's the weekend. Thankfully, I am dating someone who has a job that's very much dependent on what day it is. So by my conversations with her, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess it's Wednesday if we're talking about this, if I forget. But man, it is just a brown morass of suck. Like nothing really good.
Yeah.
I can at least say that when I was unemployed 9 or 10 months ago, that like at least felt like there was some forward momentum in the world.
Right.
It's like you are trying to get in line. You're in line at a water park and you want to do the cool slide. And it's taking forever. Your feet are fucking burning up. There's too many weird European dudes in banana hammocks, like talking to each other and like getting like, but standing a little too close to everyone. Yeah. Just, some weird Belgians or something. And like, you finally get up there and like the kid in front of you just has like a seizure. And it's fucking packed, man. So it's going to take forever to rectify this situation. And you're like, come on, man. Like, you can't get him out of the... It'd be rude. It'd be rude to push the kid's season up out of the way so you can finally do the fucking slide. But you're having to wait there. You're having to be patient. You have to be patient to see which way this is going to go before you make a move. And I feel like I'm waiting to go on the water slide, and I'm waiting for Donald Trump and Elon Musk to stop, well, quite simply spazzing the fuck out.
Well, while we wait for that,
While we wait for that.
I think it's appropriate to revisit. We mentioned this last week on the show. Fire Festival 2. This here, according to DJ Mag, James Keith writing a couple days ago, Fire Festival 2, quote, does not exist, says local tourism board.
This is an amazing quote from the guy at the tourism board, by the way. Like a top 10 quote of the year.
Oh, yeah. According to the statement on Fire Festival's official Instagram, the event is to be produced by Mexican events company Lost Nights. Okay, Lost Nights put out a statement. We're producing a highly exclusive boutique and sustainable experience for Fire Festival 2, May 30th to June 2nd. We secured top-tier private venues and hotels in partnership with our local allies who have established communications with the corresponding authorities to ensure full compliance and flawless execution. Speaking to The Guardian, Edgar Gasca from the Tourism Directorate of Isla Mujeres said, quote, we have no knowledge of this event nor contact with any person or company about it. For us, this is an event that does not exist.
An amazing statement. For us, this is an event that does not exist.
Top tier.
Top tier calling bullshit. Like, yo, like, it's not even like, hey, there might have been some wires crossed. Maybe like, you know, like it says further here that he's out of office, but like there's some follow-up information that's like puts that to rest. Like, you know, I just haven't checked my email for a minute. Maybe there's something I missed. You know, maybe wires got crossed. Like, no, this shit ain't happening, man. Like, this is a non-event.
Exactly. Atenia Gomez Recalde, municipal president of Isla Mujeres, confirmed that the only information she had was what had been written online. Quote, people are trying to use the peace and tranquility we have created here for their own benefit. The organizers didn't even bother to approach the authorities. It's very strange because any manager knows if you're going to hold an event, let alone a massive event, you need municipal authorization. I think they thought they would just announce it and see if it got traction, then ask for the permits halfway down the path. It's a bit of a naive way to think. And here's the real nail in the coffin. This festival is not going to happen. There are red flags all over the place. If you go on their website and take the coordinates they provide, then put them into Google Maps, it takes you to the ocean between Cancun and Isla Mujeres. Sweet Jesus. You know you're in trouble already with Billy McFarland, right? You know you're in trouble. This here says, he was 6 years in prison, had to pay $3 million to a former investor.
It was released after less than 4 years, but
Still, he got.
You think this guy would have started smaller? This really naive is a great word. A huckster, a guy who's acting a little too big for his britches.
Carnival barker. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're gonna. No.
Yeah. No, this is like Vincent Fusca. Like, like I'm not saying I'm JFK Jr., but I ain't.
Right.
You know, like as long as it keeps giving me that hot mom trim.
That guy is drowning in it.
Absolutely. That is the word on the street that dude is just absolutely like a guy we know here in St. Louis. You wouldn't expect apparently a real coxman.
Yeah, just nose deep every night.
Just keeps he's keeping the hat on.
So that's part one. So the next thing that happened, I don't know if you're on Instagram. You use Instagram a lot? You're an Instagram guy?
It's about, regrettably, the social media platform I probably use the most just because like that's the easiest place to post my photography.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. So Reels the other day had a bit of a problem. This, according to 404 Media, an error in Instagram Reels caused its algorithm to show some users video after video of horrific violence, animal abuse, murders, dead bodies, and other gore. Meta told 404 Media. The company said, quote, we apologize for the mistake.
I would hope at the very least. A friend of the show, Rory Blank, apparently before he made his millions making weird T-shirts, was a content moderator at Facebook in Austin, and has alluded to it being a very desensitizing and awful experience for a number of reasons. But I think the amount of gore and CSA and stuff like that he had to weed through, leaving quite a mark on him. So I can only imagine that if you were to take that filter off let that run on Facebook or Instagram, yeah, you might see something really fucked up. And it's not going to be something where you can be like, well, that's fucked up but funny, like the donkey turning into a fucking Ridge Racer car as it gets hit by a fucking... I still can't believe it. It becomes polygonal.
Yeah.
We live in a simulation.
A 404 Media reader reached out to Jason Kobler and said that his feed, which was typically dogs and bikes, had become videos of people being killed. So to test this, Kobler was allowed access to this user's Instagram account, scrolled reels for about 15 minutes. There were a couple of videos about dogs and a couple of videos about bikes, but the vast majority of videos were hidden behind a sensitive content warning. I will describe the videos I saw, this is Jason Kobler writing, when I clicked through the warnings, many of which had thousands of likes and hundreds of comments. Here's a short list. An elephant repeatedly stepping on and flattening a man. A man attacking a pig with a wrench. Love the imagery. A close-up video of someone who had just been shot in the head. A woman crying while laying on top of a loved one who had just been shot to death. A man on a motorcycle stopping next to a pedestrian and shooting them in the head with a pistol. A pile of dead bodies in what looked to be a war-type situation. A small plane crash in front of a crowd of people. A group of people beating a crocodile to death. A few videos by an account called People Dead Daily, a man being lit on fire, a man shooting a cashier at point-blank range.
Now, while that stuff seems to typically be heavily censored on platforms like Instagram, there are a few Twitter accounts that deal exclusively in that kind of content. And every once in a while, one of those will get retweeted onto my feed. And I'll be like, it's really one of those bitch you live like this kind of situations. Like, there can't really be an account that's just like people getting murked.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then like you click on it and it's like, oh, God. Yeah, it's just people being just like killed and murdered and abused. And there's all this snuff material, basically.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wow, I got 50 people to follow this account. Like, that's the fuck's wrong with y'all?
It's distressing.
And not even Prospector.
Right. We got to get him to come on. Somehow, some way.
Somehow.
If you know Prospector, if you can get us in touch with Prospector.
I got some old VHS porn that I could mail him.
That would be the way we'd lure him in. Okay.
Clockwork Orgy.
Edward Penis Hands.
The classics.
One Flew Over the Poo-Poo's Nest. Yeah. But Jason Kobler continuing, then I looked at the comments of many of these videos, and it became clear that the issue was widespread. Here are some comments. What happened today? My feed is full of shoot, killing, thriller clips, fighting, killing humans/animals, murder, and torture. Feed got fucked. Today's algorithm showed me 70 murders, 100 plus accidents, and around 115 violence videos. Is anyone on Instagram noticing it? Bro, today's feed is not for beginners.
The next one here is
Go ahead.
Amazing. I'm going to badly attempt the Spanish. Porque me seo Gore en mi app de racismo? Why am I getting Gore on my racism app?
Yes. Yo, what the fuck is IG becoming? Algorithm is insane today. Not Instagram, more like Instagore. It says nearly every recent post on the Instagram subreddit, meanwhile, is about Gore. Post titles include Instagram is now 100% Gore, guys, I can't literally sleep, Meta can't get away with this, and so forth and so on. I mean, I can't believe my feed full of cute cat videos got replaced with this shit. And it really is fucking troubling. Like
it is. There's a reason why we try to stay away from Gore for shock.jpg.
A, I don't like it. And B, boy,
there's some really dark stuff out there.
I can handle kinky shit. I can handle doo-doo and poo-poo. But the Gore, I don't know, man.
Like, and it has to be really fucking absurd. Like the donkey.
The donkey.
I make a reference to the donkey because everyone has the same reaction with like, it insta-gibbs.
It's absurd. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like that poor fucking dumb animal, but it really does just split into 5 different pieces that might as well be made of 30 polygons a piece. And like, yeah, it looks like something from Destruction Derby on PSN.
Or like Quake. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's absurd.
Yeah.
But like, I have unfortunately seen some pretty gory shit on the internet. Yeah, I've seen videos of like just a guy walking on the street somewhere, it looks like either in Central or South America.
Usually is.
And like a guy pulls up on a moped and just fucking blasts 3 rounds into his head and neck. And if you think you're prepared to see what 3 bullets at close range can do to a human body, particularly when aimed at the head and neck area, you're not.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucked. And as someone who has covered some pretty rough protests, thankfully never seen anyone get shot in front of me, but I've seen some pretty explicit violent moments of police brutality in particular. That shit didn't prepare me for some of the stuff I've seen unintentionally on the internet, or moments when I let my curiosity get the best of me and heavily regret it.
So Meta did respond to 404 Media. They sent them apparently 6 links to graphic reels, including 2 videos of people getting shot in the face, a video of a dead body with no context or news value, a person getting lit on fire, and of course the account People Dead Daily. None of the videos were deleted. Meta did respond saying, "We have fixed an error that caused some users to see content in their Instagram Reels feed that should not have been recommended. We apologize for the mistake." They said that the problem does not have anything to do with Meta's recent announcement that it would loosen some content moderation rules. I feel like maybe that's not true.
We talk about a free and weird and open internet as being kind of like the ideal, but I think serving people content in which they are not seeking without any reasonable warning is pretty fucked.
Like if I go on 4chan, I understand I'm going on 4chan.
You understand the risks.
I know that there's a possibility I'm going to see some shit. But you go on Instagram.
Hopefully you just read some weird green text. But.
Hopefully. God damn. But but if you go on Instagram thinking you're going to see, latte art and you get a dog getting crucified, maybe there's a problem is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Situations like that probably only going to become more common as time goes on. I feel...
Is this a pendulum swing thing? Are we going back to a more insane internet just because...
I feel like Trump, the second coming of Trump, is ushering in a lot of this. We see all of the tech weirdos aligning with him because even if their performative politics are vaguely liberal, they are capitalists first and foremost, and we live in a tech oligarchy, basically, in the United States.
A technocracy, if you will.
Technocracy, sure. It's not surprising that we're going to come back to like the weird, abrasive internet that we all of us older fuckers, us late millennials or younger Gen Xers might champion, but in a way that is less like a celebration of absurdity and weirdness of information and more just being transgressive, abusive, and explicit. I think this is going to be the year of bad vibes, man.
It's already shaping up to be, yeah.
There's a couple people that have crime season. I feel like this is, gosh, I don't want to sound like a performative pearl clutching liberal here, but like it's some bad shit, man.
Yeah, it's not good.
There's not a lot to celebrate other than what we're able to hold on to for those in our closely knit circles. That sucks. And it's weird to be like, so people saw some Gore vids on Instagram and thinking like, yeah, maybe society is bad, but that's kind of where we're at because I don't see this getting better.
And speaking of getting worse before it gets better, Casey Anthony's in the news again. Casey Anthony, if you remember, was acquitted of first-degree murder charges of the death of her 2-year-old, Kaylee. Now she's on TikTok. Claims to be offering legal counsel on TikTok. This, according to the Daily Dot. Casey Anthony has launched a TikTok account branding herself as a legal advocate more than a decade after her high-profile trial captivated the nation. Okay.
You can't convince me this is a Nick Mullen bit.
It feels like one, doesn't it? It really feels. And, of course, people just went insane about it at Let God Be on Twitter. Who the fuck let Casey Anthony on TikTok? Fix my phone, fix my phone. So, yes, March 1st, Casey Anthony posted 2 videos on her new TikTok account. The first directs viewers, of course, to her Substack, which made its first feed post on February 5th, responding to a TikTok video of Democrats objecting to Elon Musk's involvement in Donald Trump's administration. Her second TikTok post, which has 1.7 million views, explains she joined the platform to give legal advice as an advocate.
Is she the one that drowned her kid in the bathtub?
Allegedly, Casey Anthony, I believe, either strangled or somehow broke the child's neck, put her in a bag, and left her by the side of the road for days.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's trying to Mike Tyson this shit.
Or OJ this shit, I guess.
More like OJ than. But here's the thing: like Mike Tyson, we can say that he at least paid, as far as legality goes, paid his debt to society.
Oh yeah,
and does seem to be a human being that is mortified by the person he was.
Good, as well he should. Yes.
Yeah. So it doesn't give him a free pass on everything. But it allows him to at least try to make good with what time he has left on this earth. Casey Anthony, still most of us believe, she is guilty of the crime that she was acquitted of or found not guilty for. Mm-hmm. So therefore, the debt has not been paid. And this does feel like an OJ situation where it seems like you're kind of playing in our face a little bit.
Well, I always thought about, like, Amanda Knox. Amanda Knox, on the other hand, you know...
Okay, Amanda Knox was the bathtub dunker.
No, Amanda Knox was the woman who was arrested in Italy for the murder of her roommate.
That's right. All these white women look the same.
I will say this. Amanda Knox, the case against her was far flimsier than anything that the prosecution brought against Casey Anthony, and also that Amanda Knox has a much more sound understanding of being a legal advocate and does more good thus far than we have seen from Casey Anthony. So the reaction, of course, online was people going bug fuck nuts. Here's another Twitter user at Cocohhh. We may be divided politically, but we can all come together to say, with no due respect, go fuck yourself, Casey Anthony. Lauren Rock on Twitter also writing, Casey Anthony rebranding herself as a legal advocate is like Jeffrey Dahmer opening a steakhouse. The delusion is Michelin star level.
It's pretty fucking ballsy.
For sure. And she also did make mention in one of the other videos, as a proponent for the LGBTQ community, for our legal community, women's rights, I feel it's important that I use the platform that was thrust upon me and now look at it as a blessing as opposed to a curse. Platform that was thrust upon you because you were accused of murdering a 2-year-old.
Yeah, man, jeez, like, she should have consulted with a PR person. This ain't going anywhere good.
No. Meanwhile, on TikTok, the true crime community is daring Anthony to turn the comments on under her account. I am curious. If
they had their brunch.
Oh, they're ready.
I feel like this is not the end of this story.
No.
I'm sure in 2 or 3 months we're gonna have a follow-up, and it's gonna be incredibly uncomfortable.
She's either gonna go one of 2 ways. It's either gonna be lean hard into MAGA shit, which is a very easy route to go these days, or we're going to get a TikTok live confession. It's one of the two. It's one of the two.
Ugh. Jeez,
I know.
You talk about the Instagram shit and then this. It's just like, man, bad fucking vibes all around.
So I figured we'd end our What's Hot Classic with something a little bit more lighthearted. This from a Substack. Food is stupid. Dennis Lee writing. The headline, can you sous vide sausages in a condom?
contemplated this once or twice. Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. So apparently this guy got sent a bunch of memes, including this one where the ribbed condom full of hot dogs in a boiling pot of water, saying, sous vide is a traditional French cooking method where food is placed in plastic sealed bags in a water bath for up to 6 hours. This technique is used in many high-end gourmet restaurants. Now, what the meme gets wrong is that water is boiling.
Yeah.
Sous vide is like 130 degrees.
Yeah, you're really playing the time game there. It's like smoking.
And so Dennis decides, I'm going to try this. So he goes out and he buys Little Smokies, Vienna beef franks, and bratwursts, and a series of increasingly larger condoms, and tries it out. What's fascinating is that the Little Smokies going into the condom is pretty funny because it has that barbecue sauce.
Sauce is the boss.
It is indeed. And then the hot dog fits inside the regular Magnum, and then the bratwurst goes into the Magnum. This is part of a kielbasa for the Magnum XL. And so, looking at you gotta look at the pictures here. That's foodisstupid.substack.com.
Great, the photos are great.
Fantastic. Girth is one thing, he says, but in terms of length, the condom barely fit over the smoked sausage. Tying it off was a struggle, but so's life, right, guys? For the bratwurst, he put a part of a can of Beck's in the condom. To do the classic bratwurst beer method. It's fantastic here. It says, I've taken a lot of interesting photos for Food is Stupid, but this might land in the top 3. There's the the beer brat in the condom. The results, though, are fascinating. The Little Smokies, of course, they're fine.
Those are already pre-cooked.
They're pre-cooked, yeah, exactly. The hot dog, now this is going to piss off a lot of people. He puts it on a poppy seed bun, great. The only thing he puts on it is fucking ketchup. Come on.
That's a Midwestern white trash move, I'm sorry to say.
You got the poppy seed bun and you're doing just ketchup? Go the whole 9, man.
I would probably a little caramelized onion, a little mustard.
Yeah.
Not a huge relish guy, but if there was relish available.
Sport peppers. Little sport peppers. Little pepperoncinis.
Yeah, sure.
That's how you do it. This ketchup, fuck you. I'm sorry. I love a hot dog with ketchup, but it's got to have ketchup and mustard. Right?
Absolutely.
It's got to have. Here's my thing, and I'm adamant about this. First of all, I don't think ketchup necessarily belongs on a hot dog. It's not a deal breaker, but it's too sweet.
Similar thought. How do you feel about ketchup on eggs?
Hot sauce preferred.
So,
I would prefer hot sauce. Salsa.
You eat something with tomato.
Yep, something with tomato, but not sweet. The ketchup is too sweet. That's my problem. For some reason, I guess it's the American style of ketchup we use. Hot sauce with the vinegar and the little tomato, great. Pepper, great. I'll put tartar sauce on eggs if I'm feeling really insane. But
you ever take some half and half?
Oh, as far as like making scrambled eggs?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, creme fraiche, but yeah.
A little trick I picked up was to take a little bit of half and half instead of like, say if you like use oil or butter, use half and half instead. Yeah. Because you can then caramelize.
Right.
If you're just frying, if you're not trying to make scrambled.
Okay.
Because then that'll give a real nice crisp caramelized edge and bottom to the egg. I've done that a few times.
I'll give that a shot. Yeah. But yeah, the hot dog pissed me off. I know. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's like the scooped bagels. I can't fucking let it go. But yeah, he was saying, he tried them all, and apparently they were all great. He says, in the end, I had no reason to believe that this method of cooking wasn't going to work because, after all, there's still heat transfer involved. But I was somewhat surprised to find out that cooking various sausages in condoms turned out better than I thought it would, even though the process was extremely inefficient. Plus, there is the issue that the next time I go back to that grocery store, I may have to face the baggers again. Yeah.
Man, you're buying a bunch of tube meat and condoms.
And beer. I love it, man. The moral of the story, though, he says, if you send me a food meme enough times, you can get me to write an entire upsetting edition of the newsletter about it. So that is where I first learned about Food is Stupid. I have subscribed. If you enjoy cooking, you might want to do the same because it's really enjoyable. Dennis Lee writes fantastic.
It's going to be like in the fucking 70s next week.
Oh, yeah. I've already grilled.
You want to do some brats, bro?
I made some steaks the other night. Some wonderful sirloins. Yeah, it's really good.
Congratulations.
Yeah. We've delayed long enough. It's time for Crypto Scammo of the Week, baby.
You're listening to 48 Minutes of Dogs Barking, the podcast.
And now it's time for the Crypto Scam of the Week.
Crypto Scam of the Week this week comes to us courtesy of NameCoinNews.com. Again, I don't know how many of these sites are real. I know, NameCoinNews.com. But Ritu Lavanya writing, the latest celebrity-backed crypto token, $star10, linked to former football star Ronaldo de Assis Moreira, also known as Ronaldinho Gaucho, the Cowboy Ronaldo, is drawing attention amid concerns of a potential rug pull. Now, this has not rug pulled as of yet, but I am warning you, this is a scam in the making. Blockchain analytics platform On-Chain Lens revealed that an insider from the Star10 project made a profit already of $4.9 million. He purchased 20.79 million Star10 tokens for 48 BNB, which was about 30 grand, and has since sold 119,000 tokens for 54 BNB, which was 33 grand. Ronaldinho has taken to social media to address the liquidity. In a post on Twitter, he assured users the liquidity is locked for 30 days, stating, "Here we play it safe." Obviously, things are not looking good because, again, according to this article, they faced criticism from the crypto community for lacking clear tokenomics or a roadmap. Lack of transparency has reignited skepticism, particularly following the rug pull of Libra. Note that over 86% of investors, more than 10,000 crypto accounts, lost $251 million after Libra, endorsed by Argentine President Javier Milei, collapsed.
Yeah, these celebrity coins are a real fucking bummer. I know the name, but I don't really know this guy's significance.
So he is a former player for a Brazilian team, and he was a pretty big deal for a while. A lot of times when you would hear the name, especially with the nickname the Cowboy Ronaldinho, he was kind of on the road to being the next Messi. Everyone thought he was going to be the next thing. And then, he's no longer on the team, but he's still using that clout, using that fame to his advantage. Here's his post. My new one and only official token is here. It's time to celebrate greatness, passion, and that legendary spirit that never fades. Emoji wearing sunglasses. Legends are not born, they are forged, and you can choose to be part of it. Get your Star10 now.
Yeah, this just feels like the most empty branding.
Oh, yeah.
Like this feels like when you look at like books like Born to Buy or No Logo, this almost feels like the sort of stuff that would have been too far-fetched for those authors. The guys doing like The Corporation.
It seems like a joke that Douglas Coupland would make. Here's the chart. Here's where we are now. And it's been, as you can see, a nice, slow, downward trend. Had a bit of a bump and then right back down. It's going straight down. We're heading to bad territory. A lot of the big guys are selling.
Yeah, you're looking on the 15-minute chart, so that's real granular information. But you can see
even going back several
the first
days.
15 minutes. Holy shit, that is a shitty-looking chart.
It's 4 days old.
You can see, if you're looking on the 15-minute chart around the 4th, there's multiple times where it looks like people were trying to bought in, and then were just exit liquidity for other people.
Bip. Yeah, there's just these little heartbeat bips, and they're slowing down. It's already kind of gone by the wayside. We're starting to see it. On-Chain Lens on Twitter. An insider's made a profit of 4.94 mil. We already talked about that. The insider has sold. Here's Twitter user Bio7SS. Rug pull incoming in Star10. A broke criminal launching a coin. Guess how it will end.
Nothing left in this life but to gamble on meme coins, it feels like. This is where we're at.
Yeah.
We're not really at the end of history.
No.
But we are at the end of imagination.
Absolutely.
Life has become so hyper exploitative and so hard to prosper or even just live like a normal, reasonable life that all we have are these these fucking 1 in a million chances. You know, what if this is the shit coin that goes to 60 billion like SHIB did or something? You know, you might be up a couple grand on your fucking gamble, but then you hold to fucking zero. For some people, it is like playing the lottery.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This feels like, hard work. Both of us and many of our listeners can tell you about the pitfalls of working hard.
Yes, sir.
The quote Dale Earnhardt: "If working hard were great, the rich will keep it for their fucking selves."
Damn right. Well, if you are one of the few who make it big and work hard, maybe you can do what our main topic tonight suggests you can do. That's right. BuyTigers.com.
Fuck, man. I wish I could buy a tiger. You know how quickly I fucking stop having solicitors knocking on my fucking front door.
You know how quickly you'd stop having your neighbor's dogs barking? Those dogs would be lunch. That's right.
Those dogs would understand the jungle law.
That's right.
That I would bring to my working class neighborhood.
So a gentleman by the name of Aldo Tripiciano, an Italian webmaster and SEO search engine optimization professional, built the website in 2006. And this is how it looked. You can go to it today. BuyTigers.com. The first real tiger store online, it says, directly from India breedings worldwide. Buy a tiger online? Now it's possible. Our stores provide you the most original pets ever. It was a dream until yesterday. Now it's true. Directly from our India breedings, we give you the possibility to buy a tiger online and without any trouble. Tiger is probably the strongest feline predator on Earth, but you will discover that it can be a lovely pet as well, loyal, friendly, and totally harmless, all caps. We have been shipping tigers worldwide since 1984, giving our lucky customers the chance to own the most fashionable animal on Earth. We ship the tigers via sea everywhere in the world. Obviously, a tiger isn't an animal for everyone. This is for true nature lovers and purists, and it comes 5 months old, already trained to be nice with its owner, to eat meat, and to respond to basilar voice orders. We'll send you the breeding manual together with your little tiger that will let you know everything, all caps, about this marvelous animal, his diet, training, and health. Obviously, you will need much more information before you purchase a tiger and make a reservation. You can mail us with all of your questions. We'll be sure to send back as soon as possible. The full tiger pack costs $13,400 and includes a 5 months old female tiger, the original Hello Tiger guide, an ivory collar, estimated value $1,200, 3 tiger toys, an estimated value of $160. We only accept money orders and personal U.S. checks. Mail us for tiger lists and reservations. Thank you very much for your interest. Roar.
So I'm going to say this wasn't real.
Yes. We are the only ones in the world. It continues selling tigers online. We only sell 5-month-old female tigers with the vaccinations. We don't sell Siberian white tigers. We don't ship tigers in places not fitting their climate needs. Please mail us to know if you're eligible. We don't sell more than a tiger to single customers. 2 tigers shouldn't stay together for their safety. So that is the entirety of the website. I have just read to you.
That's it.
That's it. Now, people went fucking insane about this website. So here is IBN. This is a newspaper in India, because they do mention India on BuyTigers.com. Mm-hmm. The byline, just IANS in Mumbai. People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals on September 11th, again, this is 2006, has asked the central government to investigate a website's claim that it sells tigers. In a letter dated September 9th to the Ministry of Environment and Forests, the animal rights organization said, quote, "We are shocked about the claims of the website BuyTigers.com, which says it sells 5-month-old female tigers." The letter addressed to the Secretary of the Ministry was sent by Arundhati Sahay, PETA's India chief functionary. The PETA letter claimed that the website says, quote, "It was a dream until yesterday, now it's true," and we read all that. Right? The website claims they've been breeding tigers in India and shipping them worldwide since 1984. They also claim to provide a breeding manual, the PETA letter says. The website says a 5-month-old tigress costs $13,400. PETA requested the government to, quote, investigate the matter and take appropriate steps to prevent trade of these animals, as tigers are protected under Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972.
People are really just gullible.
They really are.
So, Jason, if you bought a tiger, what would you do with it?
Boy, I don't know. I have a hard enough time keeping, like, normal-sized cats in my home.
I would throw beer cans at, make it real nasty, and then make it my my local community's problem. Like, listen, I got this tiger, and it's just... I'm going to be honest with you. It's just hella mad the whole entire time. I've been feeding nothing but Slim Jims and bulgogi beef.
Yeah.
It's pissed. It's out for blood.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a 70s baseball player.
Yeah.
It is just absolutely ready to fucking go at any moment.
Pete Rose doing a line of coke. It's ready. Yeah.
It's absolutely is mentally twerking.
Okay.
Twerking on its silly style.
And
I'm afraid I can't keep it in the basement much longer. It's getting too strong. I accidentally left my workout videos down there.
Stop praying for my tiger. It is getting too strong.
Stop praying for my tiger. It's become too strong.
PETA on one of their official websites, this can be a scam or just a kid playing to claim they sell tiger cubs. It just sounds too weird. We at PETA India have already notified the government about this suspicious website. The website doesn't have any contact numbers or physical addresses. It just have an email ID which requests to contact them for further info. I have already emailed them and waiting for their reply. Let's see how big of a scam is this. If they are really selling tigers, and that too from Indian soil, we will be the first one to stop them. Tigers are protected in India under Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Anyone breeding tigers in captivity are subject to vigorous imprisonment. If anyone have more information on this, please notify our head office through PETA.org. As you mentioned, just like bonsai kittens, it was not real, folks. No one was selling tigers on the internet, much to the dismay of that gentleman from the documentary. He was too gay to
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. I feel a little embarrassed. I didn't realize that the Tiger King wasn't a drag king.
Oh, no?
No, I thought that was a woman in drag.
Joe Exotic does have that look. He definitely...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he does have
like
have
an
the drag king
over-the-road
look.
trucker that has a little bit of style.
Yeah.
Who just wants to get a little silly when she has a couple weeks in town.
Yeah.
In between long hauls.
Absolutely. After the PETA going to the Indian government to launch an investigation, Aldo Tropiciano, the Italian...
Aldo Tropicano! I say you can buy it at the tag, but it's not at the Drew.
Hey,
I'm too busy stirring the sauce.
I sell at the Tiger online.
I sell at the Tiger. I don't pay the taxes.
So yes, Tropiciano posted a public disclaimer that revealed the site was a hoax. So the full disclaimer, by the way, is as follows. At buytigers.com/truth.php. Let me introduce myself. I am, as many in the world already know, Aldo Tropiciano, an Italian 25-year-old webmaster. First of all, getting PETA to petition the government of India on your behalf at the age of 25, fucking go for it, man. I love you. A couple of years ago, I registered some web domains for my activities, and buytigers.com was one of them. And yes, I am the one selling tigers. But listen to my story. Originally, I wanted to use the domain as a price comparison software, but suddenly something happened in my mind. I was receiving about 25 daily emails about fake business proposals, fake stories. For example, the famous bonsaikittens.com. I couldn't believe of how some of these emails reached me for up to 10 times in almost 10 years. Sick of them, I remembered of my domain, buytigers.com, and I decided to forget about the price comparison stuff and start a crazy experiment. You have to know that I am a passionate and quite talentless writer since I was 7 years old, writing stories, poems, and fairy tales. I am also writing a very cool 400 pages novel that I want to become an international bestseller someday. Bookmark that. We'll come back to that later. But let's return to buytigers.com. This time I decided to create a fool story about an online sale of tigers and study its effects over people. I created that sample page at www.buytigers.com and sent it to some of my friends for fun. The content of the page is, in my opinion, hilarious, spelled with Y. Right. I am selling tigers at a random price with a book, Hello Tiger, written by Almi Arayal, that is not really about feeding tigers, but mostly football. Click here to see and eventually buy the book at its real price. That does go to the Amazon page for the actual children's book, Hello Tiger. The collar itself is something crazy, since I don't think it's possible to make such a big thing with round shape of ivory. And more than all, there is no information about the company, the payment, the pets. The site is not professional. I made it, including graphics, in 15 minutes with Adobe Image Ready and forgetting about a lot of XHTML CSS errors. My friends liked a lot this joke, and the temptation to see the effects on the world started growing inside me. With my good SEO, search engine optimization skills, it was very easy to make the site reach the top of search engines searches as buy tigers, buy a tiger, or buy pet tiger, and suddenly this funny site started becoming famous. I started receiving emails from all over the world from people claiming that they want a tiger and could pay for it instantly. Yes, at first, unbelievable but true, all over the world, 5 continents, all nations, everywhere, a lot of rich jerks of all ages, 8 to 80, asking for tigers and willing to pay for them. Recently, the phenomenon has grown exponentially, with a lot of relevant sources talking about it, and then a couple of the articles we've already read. Those are just samples, while everyone is talking about me as a criminal wildlife killer. What's most important is that there is actually a government operation in India to do something that outrageous with that outrageous and horrible breeding. But, well, I didn't plan to end my days in an Indian jail. So let's find out what's going on. I am an animal lover myself. I don't ever kill flies or mosquitoes, but rather let them go out the window if they're really disturbing me. I get crazy about violence on animals. Some of those people, potential buyers, wrote me a lot of details about them. A lot of them already own a tiger. Some of them would just buy a Siberian tiger because it's more rare. When I saw the effect, I thought, God, this is crazy. Those people would really deserve to be scammed by such a website. Until today, I received far more than 300 tiger requests, and you may be asking yourself what I did with them if I am already rich with my fake sales. Well, easy. I never answered any email. I never got any money from anyone. Actually, I'm also having trouble to pay some big fees for my car, about $700 USD, since I am not a rich guy at all. With buytigers.com, I realized soon that if I really wanted to cheat people, by just raising the tiger cost to $30,000 and stating a 3-month shipping time, I could have earned something like $500,000 in the last 3 months, then escape in some place in the world and live all my life without working. But I didn't sell anything or even answer a single mail. I got $0, and I had to pay for the hosting myself for all this funny and weird operation. As you can notice, my real name and address is not hidden in the domain information, since I am an honest person not selling anything for real and taking responsibility of my jokes, even the international ones. The site may have hurt someone's sensibility. I'm aware of it. But now stop your emotions for a moment. I love the phrasing. It's the Italian in him, I know. Stop your emotions for a moment and think about the thing itself. The more a problem is complex, the more the research over it should be accurate. I can't believe that India government is actually trying to find a crazy breeding selling football books and managed by a 25-year-old guy living in Italy. So the truth is that most people likes looking for reasons to make a lot of loud and to feel proud of themselves far before using a little common and rational sense to investigate and avoid losses of time and money. I could have made a far better e-commerce site. I could have made registration private and or with fake personal data, spammed thousands of people to get millions of hits, put AdSense on the page to gain money from clicks, whatever. I would now be an international outlaw. And I think this here sums up not only this website, but our entire show. My conclusions are that internet is a crazy world where it's very easy to create fake information if you know how to use it. Actually, I run a lot of websites, and I could make this thing again and again with other topics and gain these or very bigger effects. All of the requests I received were very, very weird, and they could represent an interesting documentation for any animal/wildlife safety company wanting some data about people owning and threading with tigers, wonderful creatures that should only stay free and in their part of the world. A lot of people was willing to buy up to 5 tigers in one time. Others wanted it as a pet for their children. Others wanted to grow their tiger in Finland or in Egypt. Most of the people was contacting me from the States, from India, and from Arabian countries. So, as you can see, a lot of interesting stuff. And again, I'm open for collaborations with all kinds of organizations. The information I gathered in these years just by receiving emails is something incredible about the tiger market. You can see my contact information below. The last reason I did it is that I would like to work as a freelance journalist for some good magazine, or as SEO for any kind of web company, or whatever else requiring creativity, knowledge, and sense of humor. Since this site represents only one over a lot of interesting stuff and experiments I made, I could bring a positive boom for your publishing company. I have a deep knowledge of the internet world, social softwares, programming languages, search engines, psychology of marketing, and all relationships between these entities. I realize a lot of stuff far more interesting and accurate for the public that buytigers.com. So contact me. He gives his email address. This is not the last time you will be hearing of me on the internet. What will be next? Nightly update. I am already receiving job offers from someone. Please be accurate in describing your proposals. I will get back to everyone with my impressions and or questions. People asking for interviews. Yes, I am available for them, but we must discuss further. Thanks to everyone writing with me. Roar. So, a wonderful gag by a
I didn't know Italian people could be funny.
Come on, you've seen Moonstruck. All right, so no one but Nicolas Cage is Italian in that movie, by the way. It's just so strange. But
that has to be kind of surreal. You make this joke website, and then people are very sincerely being like, I'd like to buy a tiger.
Actually, yes, I would like to buy 5.
5 of your finest tigresses, so I can raise them in the humid swamps of Biloxi, Mississippi, and neglect them.
Yes,
because I didn't think this through.
I do love some of his phrasing, you know, but I also just love that, like, it was a shit post that got out of control, really, and it did make heart.co.uk's list of best internet hoaxes of all time. Internet site buytigers.com started appearing everywhere, claiming they sold the big felines for $13,400 each. People were up in arms. Of course, the site is nothing but a prank. But yeah, it made a couple different lists of like best internet hoaxes. And I'm like, it's not even nearly as funny as Bonsai Kittens.
Bonsai, yeah. I mean, it's a single page.
Right.
I'm not saying it isn't funny, because it is.
It is, yeah.
But Bonsai Kitten, along with some other earlier hoax websites, there's a little bit more craft. But to the author, the creator's credit, that was not his intention.
No, he whipped that up in, like you said, 15 minutes.
It was a bit.
Yeah. And it was a bit that he only originally intended to share with his friends, which feels like the best bits that ever happen.
Oh,
the ones that you're like, oh yeah, only my friends are going to see this. Because I feel like we talked about last week, Team Roomba and all the TF2 stuff. Like, all those guys were really just doing it for people that they play with or people that they're on forums with, you know. Like, and
yeah, I don't think on some level that was supposed to go outside of, like, the Something Awful Goon gaming community in some ways.
Right, and so it feels very much of a piece. But it's also just, you know, very clearly badly written.
The frames are shitty.
Well, that's because I zoomed in. Let me get it to the actual how it would look.
No, it still looks
yeah,
like
it's
shit.
bad. Yeah, yeah. And then there's these really bad grainy photos. It's actually a duplicate of the same photo of a guy bottle feeding a tiger.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking funny.
It's some real Geocities type of fucking web design. Like, it's not good. And then if you go to the email, immediately says this email is not a valid email because he didn't get email for buytigers.com. Boy, you could get in the national news for something like that at that time period, and now I don't think you could. I don't think you could get anywhere near the amount of attention for a single serve website like that you used to be able to.
Absolutely. No, it's a different game. There's obviously like the novelty factor, and also I think people are cynical enough about the internet now that something like that could not be taken.
No, I think you're right. I think they might say,
but
it's
still,
fake.
Like, but how did QAnon go? Like, how did that?
Because it was 4chan, it was anonymous, you see. Whereas Aldo...
Hillary Clinton is going to buy a tiger and execute it
on live television.
With John Podesta, Comet Ping Pong, with the spirit cooking lady, and a couple mole children.
Oh, Marina Abramovich. Yeah. We're going to have hot dogs.
Hot dogs. Tiger dogs.
Tiger dogs. There you go.
I wonder if tiger tastes any good.
Can you sous vide a tiger dog in a condom? That's the next.
You ready to do some gross images?
Oh, baby, am I. Shock.jpg time.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Shock.jpg.
Courtesy of Run the Gauntlet is called Home Cure for COVID.
Oh, boy. All right. Play the film, Frank.
So, the actual title is New Home Cures for COVID Are Getting Stupid. It is a short video here. Let's see. It's a young woman with a... It's a young woman with the I don't know, some sort of dental bit where it's like, holding her mouth open.
Shit Marilyn Manson would put on his mouth 20, 30 years ago.
It's holding her mouth open, and inside is a condom filled with what looks like cum. She's sitting there with a leather vest on.
Some sort of pleather dress, yeah.
The person off camera is pulling it back like a slingshot.
Yeah, it's real David and Goliath.
And it lets go, and it propels the wad of cum in the back of her throat as she's coughing and gagging here. And then tries to go to the toilet to spit or vomit or something. And they got to take this mouthpiece off of her.
I mean, I'm not laughing at her suffering, but the image of okay, she's got her mouth propped open with this weird medical aperture or something. But the wad of cum and the condom and some pulling it back, I'm sorry, that's funny. Mm-hmm. And the fact that when they release it, it all goes it all just chucks through. I'm sorry. It's almost too perfect. Her suffering after this, not so funny.
The rest of it, it's just that moment of
just this pensive I'm pulling it back.
That's the tease. They're teasing you a bit, but yeah, they're pulling it back like a slingshot. Here comes.
Here comes the cum.
It's really not fun watching her in distress. It's the moment before that. It could have cut off honestly before that. But if I have
if it was a TikTok, it would have cut off right after the full wad shot into her throat and she reacted. Then you cut it there. You never have to know if it was unpleasant. It's just funny.
Every once in a while,
ivermectin and a Z-Pack. This is what America's frontline doctors have recommended: not shooting cum down your throat like a trollop.
Couldn't hurt to do both.
What if your nut was a COVID vaccine?
Well, then
your wife would be okay?
My wife would be all right, yeah.
Yep. Not many married men can say that. Hey. Most married men, my wife doesn't suck my dick anymore. I'm in a loveless marriage. I want Chris Benoit everyone in this house every single day, but I don't because what if the fucking Rams win the Super Bowl again? I miss it. Some real fucking dark, American Beauty ass shit.
Yeah.
But for dudes that drive trucks that are too big.
I don't think wife bad as a genre of comedy.
Wife, kid bad, me want beery.
No, look.
Daddy need drinky.
No, look, daddy do need drinky, but wife and
Because
kid
of
good.
capitalism, not because of wife and kid.
I'm drinking leftishly. That's
I'm a progressive drunk.
I'm the drunk who understands that, yes, every time I purchase a beer, it is in fact contributing to, globalization and terrible things happening. But also, daddy need drinky. Daddy drank for the government, I think.
Daddy drank for the government.
But yes, I don't know. COVID vaccine, obviously this was posted mid-pandemic. From looking at this date, it's June 1st of... Well, speaking of entirely your shit, that's right. It is time for the breath mint.
It's time for your mom's favorite part of the show. It's time for the breath mint.
Brian, what are you going to hit us off with this a week? Brian is down with the sickness.
I'm down with the sickness and apparently the legitimacy of Israel.
Oh, okay.
No, not really. I got an email to the Google groups for the RSSTL. Photographer had to drop out for Disturbed at Scott Trade Center, which is now Enterprise Center.
Now, for those non-St. Louis people, that is the hockey arena. Is that right?
Yes. I just responded with, which I realized went to everyone. Yeah, I'll cover it. That dude is hella hairy.
So now everyone at the RSSTL knows that you're an appreciator of a hirsute man.
Yes, David Draymond is really fucking hairy. I met him at the 2004 Ozfest. My Aunt Kelly had smuggled in a disposable camera and took a photo of me and David Draymond.
Do you have it? Do you still have it?
I have it somewhere. I have a scan of it somewhere. And just show you what a confused fucking teenager I was. I'm wearing an International Noise Conspiracy shirt and a Marilyn Manson hat.
Hell yeah.
That was a really weird day because Jason Newsted, formerly of Metallica,
right?
But he was playing with Voivod, who were really fucking good.
Oh, they are, yeah.
Complimented my shirt and said, hey, that's a great band. We jam out to that record all the time. Which, how do you take that information from Jason Newsted when you're fucking 18?
You just nod and go,
Yeah, I go,
fuck.
Dude, that's...
Yeah.
I was like, dude, that's sick, man. Jason Newsted, cool dude. David Draymond, polite enough that he spent like 20 or 30 minutes between set changes on the second stage, like just bullshitting with people. I just remember thinking if you threw a lit match at that man's chest, he'd go up like an old Christmas tree. But not really my scene, but opener, Seven Dust, and...
Yes, I love Seven Dust. I'm sorry, fuck the haters.
I thought they were great. I thought they had great energy. The singer came off as a very sincere guy.
Yeah.
Like, just like, he's like talking. He's like, it's really cool, maybe in an odd way, to be like opening up for a band that sees us as one of their inspirations, but like, it's really flat. Like, this dude just seemed like humble.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And those guys just seemed like super excited. And they Seven Dust is no stranger to playing St. Louis. It always feels like at any given time, if you go look at all the venues in St. Louis, Seven Dust is probably playing somewhere. Those guys just keep fucking doing it. And respect to that, like, it's not an easy life.
No, and it's really been like 20, 30 years since they had a hit record, and they're still just like doing it.
I mean, fucking Electric Six is the same way. Electric Sixes had 3 or 4 really good records, and the fact that they are just a fun live band or a good live band has been enough to keep going.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like, great set. And something curious happened.
Oh?
I think it was the third song. I'm photographing the vocalist. I have my long lens. I'm on that camera body. And he puts his hand up to his brow and salutes me.
Uh-oh.
And I'm thinking to myself, the fuck is that about? And I just like threw on some clothes before I went to this show and did not realize that I had gone to a show that might skew a little bit more conservative, wearing a hat that looks like a Vietnam veteran hat, but it says Class War Veteran. A hat that was a very precious gift from my ex. And I don't know if he realized what it said. I don't want to take it in bad faith. And I don't want and you know, I said something to him about a friend. They're like, man, you're such a fucking troll. I'm like, I don't wear that hat to fuck with anyone's sense of sincerity.
Yeah, I wasn't doing it on purpose.
I'm not wearing that hat to fuck with people. If anything, it's make them go, oh, huh. Because I also have some photos where he's making eye contact with my lens and has like a little bit less charitable look on his face. Like maybe he realized he got. I hope that's not. Again, haven't personally not asked the man.
Right.
But again, was not trying to pull one over on him. I found it incredibly fucking funny because
it's
like
fantastic. Yeah.
Because what the fuck is this life? But they were great. That was a thing that most certainly occurred.
Yeah.
And then the second band, which is who the photo pass was through, which was 3 Days Grace, who I haven't photographed in 12 years.
Yeah.
I did Loden for an underplay they did at the Firebird, and I mean it was a cool show. I watched Adam's jacket almost catch on fire from the lights that they were using because they were so intense. But Adam had been out of the band for a while, and this other guy who's the brother of another band member has been filling in, sort of permanent for about 10 years. And Adam came back. Adam had some drug issues, and he's cleaned up. And again, not my kind of music, but those guys look like they were having a hell of a fucking good time on stage. Both vocalists together sounded surprisingly good. And they came out. What's their lead single? It's like The Monster in Me or something like that.
3 Days Grace?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea.
Animal I Have Become. Sorry.
Animal I've Become. Okay.
Animal I've Become was, I think, the song they started. So bold choice.
Yeah.
Fucking
they started
ballsy.
with the big
Start
hit.
out your set with your biggest fucking hit. And the 3 Days Grace credit, they got a handful of bangers. Even though it's not my kind of music, I can't say that they are slouches in the output department. That was fun. I mean, for me, like knowing that the homeboy had some troubles and he's back in the band and he sounds just as good. I mean, again, not my kind of music. Can't say that guy has a bad voice, though. It's unmistakable. Again, good vibes. Can't really, regardless if it's my kind of music or not, can't fuck with good vibes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the 3 Days Grace song that I remember just straight off the title was World So Cold.
So, Disturbed plays, and, the real fucking elephant in the room is the fact that David Draymond is a really unapologetic, aggressive Zionist. Photos of him signing bombs with the IDF. Really hard to separate the art from the artist there. I've probably seen Disturbed live like 3 or 4 times, not on purpose, just because I think they were on every Ozfest I went to as a kid.
I'd say it just so happened.
Just so happened. I mean, same thing. Like I've probably seen Slipknot just as many times, not on purpose. It was just I was too lazy to move, and I was like, "Who's playing on the other stage? Head PE. I'm good." It seems like that they were playing everything in order because it was the 25th anniversary tour of
Down with the Sickness.
The Sickness.
Oh, that's right. Down with the Sickness was a single.
Sickness.
That's right.
Voices, the Game, Stupefy.
Pretty solid 1, 2, 3, by the way. I gotta say, even though I'm not a big fan of their later output, The Sickness was a sick record.
Pretty influential.
It's kind of like that first Korn record,
Yeah, I mean, God. So, yeah, it was released March 7th, 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So I photographed that show on the 2nd. That's kind of fucking wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, The Game is an okay song, but Voices of Stupefy, obviously, if you have fucking Pulse or listened to rock radio in the last 20 years, you probably know both those songs. And, of course, the 4th song is Down with the Sickness, which we didn't get to photograph.
No.
Which was weird because, like, we're getting all of our camera gear and and we were already back up in the security room getting kicked out before the ooh, wah,
no.
So, I mean, again, didn't have tickets.
I know.
I did see people on social media that were also at that show, and there was like shit where like the drummer came out with fucking timpani drums, and see they had a little catwalk with a little knob at the end, and so they could get out into the crowd and all that. I saw photos of like the drummer having timpani drums, David Draymond being at like a grand piano that was also on fire.
Hell yeah.
Like, okay, fuck.
Let us take pictures of that.
Yeah, but he also like came out like Hannibal Lecter, like in like a straight jacket with like a puppy play mask on. And apparently there's a point in the show where they put him in an electric chair and he gets electrocuted. I'm like, damn, I would have liked to have stuck around for that, but I didn't have a ticket. I posted on Facebook. You've probably seen it. Mm-hmm. But the more I look at this photo, the more I have contemplations. It's David Draymond looking at my lens. Do you feel this is the face of a man who's reading someone's hat and going, the fuck is that?
Yes. It definitely reads that way. Yeah. Sure. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Here's what you posted. I now have the weird task of writing about the importance of Disturbed as an early nu metal band while not ignoring David Draymond's intense Zionism. So,
yeah, but
that accompanied that picture. That's why
that picture. I realized as I looked at it, when I was actually like editing and putting together like my 20 or so photos, I'm gonna push to the desk. I'm like, that's gotta be him reading my hat, like having to do the fucking math.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Everything else that he has to contemplate per his performance.
Yeah.
Now that's in his fucking head.
You got to him.
And I had like people on a Left Book group, someone actually in the posting David Draymond the photo of him signing the bonds. I'm like, funny enough, I posted on this thread. Funny enough, I'm covering for another photographer and documenting their performance here in St. Louis this weekend. I wonder if I should wear my Kiefa that I got when I was covering Ferguson. And maybe this is one of those things I'll look back, depending on how Mr. Draymond decides to live the rest of his life, that I may regret.
Right.
Not being more transgressive.
Not having done it, yeah.
But I think wearing the hat was enough.
Yeah.
On some level. I was like, man, first of all, there's the whole cultural appropriation of me wearing it. Mm-hmm. But if it's to get this guy's fucking goat, that'd be pretty fucking funny because fuck your Zionism. That's pretty gross. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, okay, what if that negatively reflects on the publication?
Right.
You know, I mean, like the what's the word I'm looking for? Blowback.
Yes.
The blowback. And like, do I potentially want to be a part of the fucking social media cycle for a day or two?
I was going to say, yeah, do you want that smoke? I don't know.
First of all, particularly if it becomes about me and not David Draymond's political views.
Right.
I've had that scrutiny on me before. Don't really care for it. And also that would be looking at the wrong person, in my opinion. But knowing how things have been going
right
on the internet lately with things regarding the genocide in Gaza, I feel like that would be something unwelcome in my life, even if I felt like I was doing the quote-unquote right thing.
Well, I also saw some live music.
Smoking Popes.
I saw Smoking Popes and Rodeo Boys and Camp Trash at Off-Broadway with... I took my teens.
You took your kids.
I took the kids.
Kids, we're going to see some live music.
Yeah, and I kind of wish I didn't. Mostly because the fact...
Kids can't drink.
That was fine.
They can't buy shots.
Well, yeah, okay. But but also the fact that, like, Smoking Popes is my music. It's not their type of thing. We got midway.
It's not Kim Dracula.
It's well, no, come on. No, they the one kid.
The fact that you smirked makes me know that like one of your kids has probably played Kim Dracula
once. The one kid loves Car Seat Headrest. Mm-hmm. And the other one is like, wake me up when it's like Glitch Mob. I'm like, all right, well, this is clearly not the show for either of you.
Yeah.
We did spend most of the show upstairs at Off-Broadway. Off-Broadway, for those of you not in the St. Louis area, is a gorgeous little venue, and it does have an upstairs area, thankfully, because it is very cramped on the floor. So Smoking Popes was there with a bunch of younger bands, right? One of the kids was like, oh, shit, yeah. This band Rodeo Boys rules. After they were off, all interest just kind of faded away. And so my wife and I were like, okay, well, you guys sit here and be on your phones. We're going to be up. we're gonna.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, there's really not much else to do. boy, those guys really, they put on a show.
They're great.
They
I kind of regret not going. I was kind of tapped out.
Yeah, I can
But-
see that, yeah.
I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad that was a good show. How was it? Was it well attended?
Very well attended. I was
Excellent,
very impressed,
excellent.
yeah.
Glad to hear that.
Every time I see them, and I've seen them so many times over the years, but every time I see them, I fall more and more in love with them. The band is three brothers, Josh, Eli, and the third caterer brother whose name I always forget. But it's these three guys that are, my age or older, up front, bass, and then the two guitars. And boy, Josh Caterer's voice has not changed a bit in 30 years, which is really fucking strange because they've been touring pretty much nonstop. And he has this voice. He's got this really. Somebody compared him to like if Bing Crosby was fronting the Stooges. I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of get that. Or like, if somebody with a really nice voice was playing with MC5, and they do.
I could see that. Yeah,
Constantly
I can see that.
pull out the Ramblin' Rose MC5 riff as a way to intro their shows. This was celebrating the 25th anniversary of the album Born to Quit, which was their second album. Their first album was Get Fired. And I realized because of Josh's between song banter that two back-to-back on the album were featured in big hit movies. The first one was Lucky Day. It was in the end credits to the movie Tommy Boy.
Amazing.
And then the other one was Need You Around, which was heavily featured on both the soundtrack and in the movie Clueless. So if you saw either of those two movies, which were huge hits, you've heard the songs before. You've heard this band.
Oh, yeah.
People went nuts, of course, for that. And when they finished playing the entirety of the record, which... it's a punk record. It's not very long. It's all of 35 minutes. They had time to fill, so they played stuff from their follow-up to that, Destination Failure. It was a great night at a show. Sadly, my kids didn't enjoy it as much as I had hoped they would. It's really fun seeing a band that is your age or older still killing it. And to see the folks that are inspired by them doing tour support for them. That's fun.
It's always super fucking cool to see people on either end of the bill playing with their heroes, their inspiration.
So that was the big one for me was seeing, because I haven't seen them since the Firebird was still open. That was the last time I saw them.
Speaking of Firebird, I photographed a band I hadn't seen since those days as well.
Oh, yeah?
Little great instrumental heavy band known as Russian Circles.
Hey!
I hadn't seen them in fucking forever. And we want to talk about guys that are like your age or a little bit older.
Right.
And seeing them still crush it. Still so good. Still so fucking good. That new record, I'm looking forward to it. I don't think it's out yet. A really cool little light show. Nothing super complicated, but really, there's no vocal mics.
Right.
So the bass player's kind of get the vibe that he's like the core person. So he can't even like really go up to the mic and be like, "Hey guys, thanks for coming out."
Right.
Like it's just like
Right.
you're just here for the fucking music, man. Just fucking buckle up and take the ride. I really don't like instrumental music all that much in that context, particularly if it's heavier stuff, but the riffs are so fucking cool. The guitar tones, everything's so fucking neat. The drummer's playing his ass off. It's just a fucking cool vibe. And the opener, Chicago's own Pelican, who haven't played St. Louis since like probably the second Creepy Crawl, I think like 2006. I remember the first time I saw Russian Circles, they were playing with Boris at the Firebird in 2010 with a great little band from KC, Life and Times.
Oh, boy.
Killer fucking bill. And I remember talking with, I think it was probably Jimmy Vavac, who was the bar manager at the Firebird, about how much I enjoyed Russian Circles. And I think his response was like, "You think Russian Circles are cool? You should check out this band from Chicago called Pelican." And he was right. If you
Okay.
think Russian Circles are fucking tight, you should also be listening to Pelican.
Okay.
Pelican is basically like, what if Russian Circles were a more weird Midwestern band, like a little bit more Fugazi-ish, a little more punkish.
Okay.
Whereas I feel like Russian Circles is a little bit tighter.
So Russian Circles, for people who may not know what the vibe is it more like Explosions in the Sky, or is it more like a Sigur Rós, or?
It's like stoner metal that went to college.
Okay.
It's pretty heavy. You know, there was a quote from one of the guys in the band that I read recently that was something along the lines of, like, you know, if we had some skinny dudes singing into a microphone, people would say we were like a screamo band. But if we had like this kind of guy, they'd say we were a metal band. You know, the fact that we don't have vocals makes us really hard to pin down. Like, we're just heavy. Pelican being a band that I've been told you should check them out, and I like checked them out once or twice. But I remember seeing that lineup and being like, Pelican, that's supposed to mean something. And I went back.
Why do I know that name?
I went on Spotify, listened to like a couple other records, and was like, oh, absolutely. And I brought M, and she had no idea what kind of music this was. And I tried explaining it to her, and the words I was using, I don't think had the proper significance for her at that time. I think leaving the show, she now understood what I was talking about.
Okay.
And she was just like, oh, wow, that was fucking nuts. I go, yeah, it was fucking crazy. Everyone's asking each other, how many times have you seen Russian Circles? You know, one of those kind of shows. And people talking about like, oh, well, I saw him. Talking to a couple people, I saw him open up for Boris, you know, the show where the air conditioner broke. And a couple people being like, oh, fuck, yeah, I remember that show. That was fucking nuts. I'm like, so fucking good. Life and Times were on that bill? Fucking yeah. You know, just like front to back. What a great day. Except for the part where the air conditioner broke. But that's kind of why we all probably remember that show.
Right.
Because it felt like we were in like some sort of like Hindu fucking sweat lodge. So good. And M had to work in the morning, so we kind of left a little early. But I was thoroughly satisfied what I got to see and what got to experience. Such a good fucking show. If you haven't had the chance to see them live, I would highly suggest seeing Russian Circles live. Even if they're not the headliner, if they're on a bill with something else. Totally worth it. There's not a lot out there like that directly. Like, right. I feel like they occupy a pretty unique space, and I think that's why they're able to tour with as many different types of bands that they've toured with. Like, I would not be amazed if you went in the archives and found out that they opened up for Gore at some fucking point.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just fuck it, why not?
Right.
You can kind of plug and play them anywhere. Tough to photograph, no barricades, so no 3 songs. Had permission to shoot the whole entire show, but it was a pre-packed little show there. And for folks that have never been to Del Mar Hall, it's a nice venue. I like shooting there a little bit more than I like shooting at the pageant. So I had to shoot through the crowd, and you know, it gets packed. You don't want to be the asshole with a camera shooting through the crowd. So it's like, well, I'm going to give myself 3 or 4 songs with each band and kind of taper off from there. You've been to a sold out show at Del Mar Hall. It's fucking tough to get around. I'm trying to tell M, like, hey, I'm going to try and move over here. You should meet me by the merch table, and realizing that she didn't do much better than me getting off the dance floor. I went and took some photos, and she was still struggling to get to the mid-level. The weird thing where St. Louis is at right now, it's like either no one shows up to your show, or almost like too many people show up
right
for the venue. Like there's a thing where like sold out shows or near sellouts are like really fucking fun, and there's times where they feel really claustrophobic. I feel like bands like Boris, Mannequin Pussy, or Microwave or whatever, they can sell out or nearly sell out that venue. There's nothing else for them to go to after that level until they can do a solid 2,000 or so to make it viable next door at the pageant. There's no 1,500 cap room. What do you got? I got one more after this, but you can go.
All right. Well, I've got
the Oscars.
Oh, baby. I got the Oscar fever. How about you? That's right. It was the 12th.
My dick hurt.
No. It was the 12th annual On Cinema at the Cinema Oscar special, and it was glorious. I didn't get to watch it live because I tried to bring it up to my wife, and she goes, oh, Tim Heidecker? Yeah, I hate that guy. Because all she knows of Tim Heidecker was Tim and Eric Awesome Show's great job, and she's just adamant against it. I was like, okay, that's fine. The On Cinema at the Cinema 12th annual Oscar special from Movie House. Now, this is season 15 of the show. It's going to take way too long to explain all the lore, but the basics of it are Tim Heidecker and Greg Turkington, comedians in their own right, are playing fictionalized versions of themselves. So the fictional Tim is this kind of right-wing blowhard. The fictional Greg is this kind of meek, quote-unquote, movie expert who only watches movies on VHS tape and believes he knows everything about movies, but all he really knows is like running times and who was in the movie. So every year they get together and do this, sometimes 4 hours. This year it was 3 hours, but it's a live show. That's the culmination.
Car crashes and
there was a whole in season 7. Their Oscar special was like Greg drove a taxi with with an ad for Arthur on top. He's dressed as the Joker. Tim is like, just keep that over there. But they did it in this warehouse and they closed the doors. And so Greg has the car running the whole time. And so by the end of the Oscar special, everyone's passed out from carbon monoxide poisoning. And that was like 5 years ago. And so they've upped the ante every year. A couple years ago, they had this whole fake ranch that they had bought. The season's premise was that Tim believed he was gaining all these health benefits from drinking this, what he called grain water, which was basically runoff. And so he's drinking this like poisonous water, and he's thinking like, yeah, it's giving me all these health benefits, but you can clearly see like his
lesions and shit.
Oh yeah, his face is falling apart, his teeth are falling out. So in this season, their whole premise was that they had rented the house from the movie People Under the Stairs, right? And they called it Movie House, and they're going to turn it into this kind of, okay, we can place the VFA, the Victorville Film Archives, which is just Greg's collection of VHS tapes. They're going to play, that's where it's going to live. All his movie memorabilia, which is all worthless, is living there. And they're also going to have, screenings up on the 3rd floor. But they had to remove this beam because it was getting in the way of the projector. Well, the beam, of course, was a load-bearing beam. And so throughout the Oscar special, people are getting trapped. Part of the roof collapses. And they had some great guest actors come in. They had Jeremy Roberts, who was actually in People Under the Stairs. They had him show up. They had his brother Eric Roberts, noted actor of stage and screen, come in. And I was really unsure whether Eric Roberts kind of knew what was going on. Like, you really couldn't tell whether he was in on the joke or not. And I think that makes it so much better. Martin Sheen's brother, Joe Estevez, is a cast member on this show. And so Joe Estevez was there. They had just
Joe Estevez from Maximum Overdrive.
Yes.
Amazing.
A Soul Taker, and you name it. I think in Mystery Science Theater, they actually said, is it fair to say a movie stars Joe Estevez? It's more like the camera is pointing at Joe Estevez.
Jesus Christ. They ain't lying.
Well, so in this show, they really take it to that extreme. Another plot point in the season is that they got all this money from another season because somebody assaulted somebody else. It takes so fucking long to explain. They were going to do the zombie movie. Well, Tim took all the money and did a bunch of reshoots. And so the zombie movie becomes movie, quote unquote, based on real facts that exonerates him in the shooting of his stepson. It's fucking insane. If you've not seen,
does that have to do with the music festival?
No, well, kind of. So the Electric Sun Music Festival was like 8 seasons ago. He got roped into this music festival with this quack doctor, Dr. San, and they handed out these vapes that apparently were very, very bad for you physically. And so a lot of people died at this music festival. They did an entire 4-part series about the trial of Tim Heidecker. There's so much shit to even understand half of what's going on in this show. High Network, HEI Network.tv, is where all this takes place now because Adult Swim basically said, we can't afford to keep giving you money for this insanity. The Oscar specials are where everything just goes off the rails, and this one did as well. And I can't recommend it enough. You really want to get into it, boy, start with season 0, which is a podcast. And again, neither of these guys know a thing about movies. Tim doesn't give a shit, and Greg only knows what he sees on VHS tapes. And so Tim mispronounces everyone's name every time it's given to him. Last season, Tim Allen became Time Alien. Yeah. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio just became like Guillermo del Toro's Babobio. Like he doesn't know how to pronounce anything. But then Greg is like really stuck in, like, oh yeah, well, Ma and Pa Kettle from 1943, runtime of 90 minutes. He doesn't know anything about movies. He just knows like the titles and how long it is. It's buffoonery. And it's fun to watch it all come crashing down because the movie house literally did come crashing down on them. It's hard to recommend for someone who isn't already neck deep in this. That's the thing.
Seems like a tough go, yeah.
I can't recommend it enough because it is long form improvisational comedy at the highest level. Because again, it's Tim Heidecker. It's Greg Turkington, two guys who already have a name in doing weird shit. And here they are working together to make the weirdest shit possible. Brian, you had another thing. Let's
got one last thing.
Yes, sir.
Last week, we decided to watch a little movie. Go to the cinema house. Kind of dire at this moment.
It's a movie house. No.
It's a movie house. Theater tickets. I've seen these before. Decided to watch a little movie called The Monkey.
Oh boy, oh boy. What did you think about The Monkey?
I enjoyed it. Have you seen it?
I have not.
M's not a big horror person, and
Okay.
I feel like I have abused that poor woman because 90% of what I want to watch on my own is typically like horror or horror adjacent.
Hey, honey, let's watch Martyrs.
Yeah, no, I haven't done that, but I did show her Late Night with the Devil. I do want to show her like Dark City at some point, a couple other things. Like she's like a sweet, innocent person. I'm here to bring her down to my level. So how I took it was it really leaned into the absurd horror side of Stephen King. The stuff that like you wonder like, am I supposed to laugh? Because that's really morbid and fucked up. It's also kind of funny. It feels like it leans into that comedic horror side of Stephen King. Because even in stuff that's like really macabre, like, The Regulators, there's still stuff that's like, am I fucked up for laughing at this? Because I'm kind of chuckling. The absurd horror humor of Stephen King is really tapped in. And having not read the original short story, I'm not sure how faithful it is, but it's fun. It kind of falls apart, yes, in the third act, like all horror films do these days. Had a fun ending. Just if you like your horror that have some absurd humor, you could do a lot worse. I found it to be quite fun. M found it to be quite enjoyable. We both kind of went into it blind. We just had heard good things about it. I had mostly. Yeah, it was thoroughly enjoyable.
Now, Osgood Perkins, the director here, did Long Legs and then did this. Compare the two. What do you think?
Long Legs is definitely indie horror Silence of the Lambs in some respects. Whereas this feels like a little bit more like the horror comedy films that went out of fashion in the late 90s and early aughts.
Okay.
But with better horror. Like, so this isn't as cheesy as like, say, like Idle Hands or something like that.
Sure. Not great. Yeah.
Not great. Just like thinking about that movie, like, man, we were really just hard up for anything in the late 90s. But this had a really good balance of being really fucking funny and also kind of genuinely terrifying. Fucking intro has the character's father, who's played by Am Scott.
Oh,
Am Scott has a cameo. He's like in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Fucking amazing. Just some really great casting. Elijah Wood. Just, you want to fucking hit him with a truck. Also only in it for 5 minutes, but boy, do you want to strangle the shit out of him. God, the tone of it's just so fucking funny. It kind of feels a little bit like Drop Dead Gorgeous in a way, of being like this really macabre, dark humor. Still a Stephen King story, has a lot of the bones of a Stephen King story, but it's fucking fun. And I also, it's my understanding, it's one of the few recent things based upon his work that Stephen King has actually enjoyed.
Okay.
So I believe it's got his endorsement.
Yeah, he liked Castle Rock, and I think that was the last one that he actually liked. Yeah.
I'll say that if you're a gorehound, there's some really great kills in there. And there's some kills that are both incredibly fucking gory and also incredibly fucking funny.
Okay.
Like, you can't help but laugh because of the absurd... Like, they're fucking vulgar. But you're also like, what a fucking way to go.
God damn, yeah.
Yeah. Don't expect it to be anyone's, like, top 10 horror films of the decade kind of thing. But it's fucking fun. I feel like that's a rare thing with movies. It's just to be like, oh, it's fun. Sometimes movies are really good. But would you say it was fun? Not so much. But, like, I was entertained. I think that's something that it shares in common with Late Night with the Devil, is that Late Night with the Devil is, I think, up to the last 10 minutes, a fucking entertaining ass movie. Like, it just moves along. It has you by the fucking nuts. You can't, it's not a movie you want to pause to go take a piss. You're like, fuck, man. Because it's going to be either really interesting or kind of funny.
Or both.
Late Night with the Devil does have some genuinely funny stuff. Some actors just really chewing the fucking scenery with each other. People playing off each other really great. Cannot stress enough, you gotta see that movie, even if the ending's a little bit of a disappointment. Everything up until that point is fucking great, and it shows some really great acting chops. Not to fucking go back to that movie completely, but hey, you know what? Like, I'm rooting for that whole vibe. All right, buddy. We tying this knot?
I believe we are. This is, what?
We gotta talk about Astro Bastard. We gotta fucking pat ourselves on the back because we made a difference in our community.
So we got an email.
It wasn't a cease and desist.
It was not, thankfully. Thank God.
Thank God. Mr. Producer!
It was from a gentleman who goes by the name of Astro Bastard. Usually when I get an email like that, I think, oh God, what have we done? But no, this one's subject line, a shout from Southwest Illinois. Astro Bastard writes, hey guys, I started listening a few months ago on a friend's recommendation and wanted to say that 48 Minutes has become a fixture for me. I'm a southwestern Illinois native who very much grew up on the internet of yesteryear, and it's been refreshing to hear two dudes from around this neck of the woods share similar experiences. I got my start on the net way too damn young and burned so much time on chat rooms and forums seeing a lot of shit I shouldn't have. R.I.P. to the face punch forums, you always kind of sucked ass. It's been strangely vindicating to know that there are folks around here who burn themselves on the same stove of 2000's internet ephemera that I did. It's also been difficult yet unsurprising to watch the average person from the Metro East slowly lose their mind. I will fully admit that I could be much worse off here in my deniably blue county. Every day I don't wake up in Alton, Illinois, next to a diner that radiates nuclear-level racism is a good one. But talking to most anyone around here is an exercise in dissonance and exhaustion. Hearing you guys occasionally shoot the shit about the dumber parts of living around here has been a cathartic experience. With all that said, thanks to the both of you for keeping me somewhat more sane in these rancid times with your pee-pee poo-poo show. Keep that meat spinning, Astro Bastard. P.S. The segment on Team Roomba from the most recent ep was great to hear. I've had that guy yelling, "No, no! There will be no gay sex sprays!" from the more TF2 griefing video stuck in my head for years now. So thank you so much, Astro Bastard, for writing us. We really love to see these. I think I even said to you, this made my day.
Yeah, that was a great thing to wake up to. Couponbug.com.
We love couponbug.com.
Oh, I love couponbug.com. It's always nice to hear. I have listened to a couple of podcasts that have had people from this part of the country on it and felt a similar kinship of like, wow, it's really nice to know that there was someone from the Metro East or from the St. Louis area that like got out and made something of themselves.
Right. Well, because
they just didn't do this the rest of their lives. They weren't
right.
like, pork steaks and no to Metrolink expansion and baseball
right.
and I'm not racist. I have a black friend.
Right. Devin O'Shea was just on QAA the other week. So, we always love to hear from Devin. He's always
Talking about the Westfall underground nuclear flyer.
He was indeed.
I have not listened to that episode yet because I kind of want today to stay mellow. I'm like, I know if I listen to this, I'm going to get upset because like you, I'm a North County native.
Right.
And Coldwater Creek ain't ever been too far from me.
Nope.
In fact, my mom, I believe, once told me when she first found out about all that shit, oh, me and your aunts used to play in Coldwater Creek.
Mm-hmm.
No one's got cancer yet, but the cancer rates in and around Coldwater Creek, interesting statistics.
Pretty high. Yeah.
Pretty high. Pretty fucked up. Just a little aside. Man, this is...
I know.
Not to get too in the weeds, but at one point, 4 or 5 years ago, I was looking at buying like an apartment or a townhouse or something. And I found something in North County. I'm like, God damn. They did a pretty good renovation on this apartment here, this townhouse or whatever it was. Why is this so fucking cheap? Like they did a nice job. And I remember looking on Zillow. I'm like, okay. Let me scroll back here on the map a little bit. I'm like, 100 yards, if not closer from Coldwater Creek. I'm like, yeah, don't want the cancer apartment. I even brought up to a coworker, and they're like, I show them photos. Like I had on my phone, I'm like showing photos of the property. And I'm like, wow, that's really, man. They only want like one some change for that. And I go, I know. And I'm like, yeah, but check this out. And I little map thing, and like, oh, that's right by Coldwater Creek.
Yep. Yeah. That'll do it.
Yeah, you don't want none of that. I don't want like, dude, I got enough problems. I don't need.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I got enough shit going on. I don't need to live by
Cancer Central. Christ. If you want to be like Astro Bastard and send us a message, well, there's a number of ways you can do it. Brian, why don't you tell them where you can find you online?
Oh yeah, you can find me on Twitter at iShotGuidibor. ISHOTGUIDBORD. You can also find me under that username on Good Old Fashioned Blue Sky. And if you want to look at some photos I've taken and all that stuff on Instagram, you can go over to A Music Photographer. And if you want to go check out my music photographer portfolio in a more professional environment, you can go over to assholemusicphotographer.com. And if you want to check out the last and only good media website left in screwy St. Louis, you can go over to the artsstl.com. And Jason, where can they tell you it's just P?
Well, you can lie to me and tell me it's just P, but that's video crime. Chances are, if there's a website that has a video crime, that's me. VIDEOCRIME. We're talking Twitter. We're talking Blue Sky. We're talking Letterboxd, if you want to talk about movies. You can find me on another show that's not this one. It's called Submitted for the Approval of the Midnight Pals. There, I play a fictionalized version of horror author Stephen King. Yes, the very same one we mentioned when talking about The Monkey. We are taking a bit of a break this week, but there's going to be a great Q&A episode coming out. We're also going to have so many really cool episodes as part of Season 2, not the least of which is the season finale, which is a musical episode. Now, sadly, I don't get to sing in this one, but it is still a hoot. You can find that at midnight-pals.simplecast.com or anywhere fine podcasts are sold. Just search Midnight Pals. You can contact this show in a number of ways. My personal favorite, of course, is the telephone 314-246-9766. That's 314-AHOY POO if you like to spell with your telephone. You can shoot us an email, just like Astro Bastard did. Jason at 8 minutesofdogsbarking.com or Brian with a Y at 8 minutesofdogsbarking.com. You can support the show patreon.com/48minutesofdogs. There you can find our weekly post-show hangout that we like to call Thanks I Hate It. The occasional freak out that we like to call The Mind Zone. And if you get in on the $10 level, you can tell us what kind of insane thing to do as part of the punishment tier. Yeah. Last year we did 90-minute commentary track on the Japanese puke fetish video Gore Monster Home Delivery. If you join the punishment tier now, you get access to that. And
I will not build the doohickey.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair. That's fair.
Now, if you want me to cyberbully Jason until he makes the doohickey.
Well, we'll see. The point is, patreon.com/48 minutes of dogs. It is at about this time that we tell you namaste, good luck.
Eat the knife.
Eat the knife. Who ate all the pussy? 25th Amendment now. Whatever it is.
Whatever. Just, you know what? Just don't do it in my front yard.
Amen to that.